and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca. Happy 23rd of June to you all. We are up in the tippity top left corner today. We have quite a bitty bit, should we say. Bitty in relation to placement, or confetti as we like to call it. But nonetheless, a very fun section, I think, with all the little plant bits. So let's get started. Grab myself an AB pen, and I'm going to start with the ABs and see, let's see how today goes. As usual, I do hope everybody is having a wonderful, productive day / weekend, whatever that may contain. I'm going to go straight into comments, questions, etc., because I don't think I have any major updates. I know it's a Sunday after my quilting lesson. Well, it is for you guys, but it's not for me. Because I like to try my best to give myself the weekends off. It does not always work, and it hasn't worked the past 2 weekends. But yeah, I am hoping to film today's and maybe also film Monday's, tomorrow's, before the weekend, because then there's no pressure to get Mondays done in time for upload, because Monday's always busy in the shop as well. So yeah, we shall see how we go. So we'll go through some comments, questions, get ahead, and then I'm sure Monday or Tuesdays I'll be able to give you an update on my quilting and how that's going. Dee says she's enjoyed this waffle on the 8th. She says she was enjoying all the bloopers, as she calls them, which is the missed symbols and colours in the tray. There was definitely a few bloopers on that day. It was either one of my last minute filmings or the end of a line of filming. It's normally the way it works, but that week was, I've had a couple of really wacky weeks. Liz, she says she's taken 3 attempts to watch today's video. She said she started it and then husband phoned and said he needed picking up. In fact, just before I came to film this, I was literally walking through the door saying, speak to you in a minute to Caris, because she's dealing with Mr. Postman when he comes to pick up the orders. And literally, as I said it, my phone started ringing and it was hubby. So they do have impeccable timing. But yeah, she says she got a section complete and was interrupted by husband regarding tea. And then she just relaxed with him watching television and doing a paint gem mini. She said finally she sat down at her craft desk on Sunday morning to start working on the last square of her other canvas, which is Mad Hatter by Hannah Lynn from Diamond Art Club. She said she may not have got the video watched in one. She said, but it did get her time. She did get her me time, and she completed her June waffle section. She finished a paint gem mini from Friday and completed a nota. As long as you get in the me time, that is the main thing. Waffle catch up can always be when you have the time, or it can, if it has to be, just skipped because you prefer to keep current. There are ups and downs in our lives where we have more time for some things and less time for others, and then something else becomes priority. So go with the flow, but just try and get that little bit of me time, whatever it may be, whatever you're in the mood for. A lot of my me time recently has literally involved sitting on the couch and not doing a lot. But that's what my body's needed the past few weeks. So you very much have to go with the flow. Oh my God, I'm seeing all the number 3 ABs all mixed in with these. Got loads of ABs today. She said during the course of Saturday, she did get a few sections of Go Mad Hatter done. So she's definitely got her time in. Absolutely perfect. Exactly what we want to hear. Blossom Chop, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, the way to look at multi-placing, she said, is it's another skill in your arsenal. Yes, for sure. It definitely is another skill that I am mastering. Monique, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, thank you for a wonderful time. And she said, say thank you to Megan for helping so we can have a good time. Oh, that was launch weekend, wasn't it? I did leave quite a bit to Megan that weekend. But yeah, all the kids have been really good at helping out when it's June Waffle time, even if it's just taking control of things like the postie or the door, or because the door's constantly going in this house. Taking parcels in. Catherine was counting cardstock for me yesterday and getting that packaged up because I've not quite got round to it, but she quite enjoys it when it's sort of her mindless task that she likes to pick up every now and then. And hey, when she's home from uni, I am not going to argue with that. Lewis does it sometimes as well. He quite enjoys just the sitting there and counting it. But he's been pretty busy learning all the stuff in his new job, which he's been really enjoying. So yeah, just everything's on the go in this house, well and truly. Cat Lady says she had a dig around in her stash of diamond paintings. She decided on a 40 by 50 square, and then while sorting out the diamonds, she came across diamonds for a much smaller painting that she thought she'd lost. They were rounds in with the squares, she said, so she has kit them both up and she will just work on them as it comes. She says she has a small 6 places in metal that she uses to pick up anything up to 6 drills. She said it works well. It too, she says, is thinner than the plastic ones, and so it gives a better placement of drills. She says she's not sure where it came from, she says, but it wasn't from Diamond Art Club. Oh, very good. That's the next thing I might do, is up my multi-placing at some point. I might just wait until I have something like a Splatterworks painting, you know, that has a lot of, say, a background colour or something, just to get used to placing a lot bigger numbers without having to check if it will fit, and just be able to just do it and then take it from there. Catherine, she says it's a yay for me, or for herself. She said she's first time trying multi-placing, and it worked. Perfect. See, you're getting another new skill in your arsenal too. She says she only used a 3-placer, as the next size up that she had was a 7, which is too much for her right now, which I completely get. She says she's just retired, she says, so she will keep diamond painting. Well, happy retirement. Who says you can't still learn new tricks after retirement? I'm not sure if it's something that would go on a CV, but when you're retired, you don't need one. There are a few people commenting and giving her congratulations and stuff as well on the post, which is really nice. I do love seeing the little interactions underneath the comments as well. So sometimes I do read them out. Sometimes when I have this many comments like now, it takes enough for me to read out the comments, never mind any replies. But that was on the 9th of June, if anybody does want to go and look / comment. Blossom Chops says she organises her Kindle by author and then has the particular series name in a separate folder. She says that way she has the author's book folders are alphabetical. So yeah, Kim is still working at organising her Kindle. By the sounds of it, that's going to take a while, Kim. But hopefully now you have the ability to get it organised how you want it, so that you can find anything you're after. Liz, she says, it's lovely to hear about my new hobby, quilting. She says she has a relatively new hobby, card making. I used to make cards on occasion, but that was more with my scrapbooking supplies when I needed one and went, oh shoot. That's when I'd make one. She says she made a card today for her friend's birthday, and she'll be making another 2 birthday cards next week or so. She says one for a friend of her husband's and the other for her goddaughter. At least it's a useful hobby, card making, though you can find yourself picking up all sorts of bits, but it's definitely a very useful hobby to have. She says it had to happen eventually. She said you finish your section, she said, before me today. She said but she did have more colours today and a slightly bigger section. She said as like me, her canvas is a bit bigger. It is 42.6 by 50.7, so it's slightly bigger than 30 of our size cover papers. Yeah, most of my big sections all seem to be coming up sort of as a later on time, so at least we're going to have a few odd scattering of longer whip and waffles due to the bigger sections. Right, what do I want now? Letter X. I'm using another pen from Lazen Lathe Works. They are on Etsy and on Facebook. When hand-turned resin pens first became a thing, I may have got quite a few different ones because I just fall in love with many of them. Darcy, she said she did quilting for several years. She said, however, for herself, once she's finished the top, she would lose interest. I can see me doing that. And move on to the next pattern. She says she has several that are not completed. I could potentially see me doing that. I was on the mindset originally of, no, I'm going to go the way through to finish before I'm allowed to start anything else. However, I'm already having ideas of, have I picked a really, really hard pattern to start off with, and should I actually sort of pause and maybe do a smaller one, an easier straighter lines one, and maybe gift it to my nephew and then go back to my harder one. I'm still very, very much undecided. I think it will be a lot more helpful for me once I have gone to this other quilting lesson. Sorry if you can hear Luna, that is the postie. He comes every day from Monday to Friday, and she still always goes ballistic at him. But yeah, I think I'm still waiting. Once I have sort of done the next part of my quilting lesson and sort of taken what we're working on and check I'm not making some big rookie mistake on it, then maybe I'll just, you know, continue on with the one I'm doing. I guess time will tell. That's for sure. I just keep getting engrossed now because I've ended up being exhausted over the last week or two, or at least exhausted at the end of, you know, when it gets near the end of the day. I have spent quite a bit of time sitting watching YouTube, so I've been learning. But yeah, I'm sort of trying my hardest not to end up just having part finished projects or UFOs, but it might end up happening. We'll see. But I do like to be very organised, so actually finishing stuff, it's whether my organisation skills take over, and therefore I have to finish it for it to be organised. We'll see who wins. Lady Dax, she says she is so relieved to be able to sit and diamond paint with me today. She said P. Jelly and herself have been sorting out wardrobes. She says, who knew we would have so much to take to the new local charity shop. She said they have both found things that they haven't worn for years. It was tiring work, she said, so it is nice to sit and relax. Well, that is a job well done. I must admit, me and hubby don't allow ourselves a lot of space for clothing. Like, we have plenty of space for what we need, but we also, you know, we don't feel like we need different outfits constantly. So we do tend to find that when we get new clothes, which does tend to be in a bit of a spurt, I'm not actually a fan of shopping for clothes. So when I do tend to start shopping for clothes, like around my birthday, me and the girls went to some local shops around, it tends to become a bit of a bug, and I go shopping and get loads of different bits, and then that's it, then I'm done for a while. So that's when I tend to have a clear out of anything, you know, replace it with whatever I've got that's new, and then that's it, because that's all the space we've got. But I did used to work with somebody who was constantly had new clothes and had clothes in their wardrobe and stuff with tags still on, and I'm just like, my wardrobe hasn't got the space for that. We share a wardrobe. Ali Cat says, hi Rebecca. She says today is the 9th of June waffle. She says the grandkids are still here, but their dad and stepmom came down last night and have taken them out for the day. She says, so she went to church, then came home and started diamond painting and getting caught up. She says she loves having the grandkids, but she has missed diamond painting. She says working on a Alphonse Mucha panel for Summer with the Masters event. She says once she gets caught up, she should be able to keep on track with the waffle. Well, I'm glad you had a nice time. I suppose the best thing, though it's probably not going to be able, you know, logistics don't necessarily make this work, but it sounds like the best thing for you with the grandkids is to be able to have them in the day and see them and spend time with them, and then kick them home so you can sit down and diamond paint. Sounds like that's the better kind of day. Aubrey, she said she's sure that I've answered this. She says, and she just missed it. She says, but when are you starting your next Heaven and Earth design? She says, are you planning to show us the whole process of buying the canvas and the drills? She said, you're awesome, by the way. Oh, thank you. My plan is, once Walking in the Rain is completed, which is the Thursday whip and waffle that I do, that's currently on pause, once that is completed, my plan is to then go into the Heaven and Earth designs. In an ideal world, depending on when it is that I am, you know, what time I've got before I finish Walking in the Rain, I'm kind of hoping to film the process of organising and getting the drills for it and the canvas for it. I'm hoping to sort of film that beforehand so that as soon as that Whip and Waffle finishes, we can go straight into the Heaven and Earth design. And the Whip and Waffle will be replaced with the sort of planning, the process of buying it, and it'll become then, instead of the Walking in the Rain series, it will become the Heaven and Earth design series. And of course, once we've done the buying of the canvas, the buying of the drills, the working out of it all, and getting it ordered, it will then, I'm hoping to film those before I finish Walking in the Rain, so that it can then be followed with the stuff's arrived, which, if anybody knows ordering diamonds from like Evermoment on AliExpress, it does not arrive from one Thursday to the next. So I'm hoping to pre-film those two, the purchasing of the stuff, so that I can then do the video. It's here, let's get it all ready, and then we can dive straight into the Whip and Waffles. That's my kind of plan. We'll see how it all works out, because it could end up slap bang around Advent time, which is crazy houses here. So if that's the case, it may be that we do the sort of prep videos instead of the Whip and Waffle, but then we do have to wait for the stuff to arrive because I haven't been able to pre-organise it. But once Walking in the Rain is finished, is the short answer. Cross Stitch and Tat, she says, funny, she says, but quilting and scrapbooking, she says, are the two crafts that she doesn't do. She says she learned to sew by hand first, and pieced blocks that way, she says, before learning to sew on a trundle machine. She says she's sewn many things. She says wedding dresses, bridesmaids dresses, drapes, kids clothes, baby clothes, bags, and many masks during COVID. She says, but she couldn't force herself to piece those blocks. She said that she was forced to do as a child, she said again. She was just never interested, she said, in scrapbooks. She says she loves all the lace making and cross stitch still, and anything else to do with thread. She says woodworking is also a love. She said diamond painting is her current active hobby, though as holding her, right, let me try and rephrase that now I've read the full sentence. She said diamond painting is her current active hobby though, as using a needle has got more difficult with age. She says with 14 grandchildren, goodness me, she says with 14 grandchildren, some of whom are old enough to give her great grandchildren, she says that is okay with me. She says great June waffle so far. Well, I am glad you are enjoying it, and it's nice to have a few different hobbies, even if, you know, they sort of ebb and flow differently depending on mood, comfort level, all the rest of it. It's nice to have options of things that you enjoy doing and can sort of get your me time and potentially switch off too. So I love hearing all the other things that people manage to fit in their day as well. Tweety, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she is all caught up. sorry, she said she's all caught up since she had her hip replacement this past Monday, the 3rd of June. She says the only thing is, she says you always get done before her. Don't race against me, seriously. It depends on what sort of diamond painting I'm doing, but especially if I go single placing and you're single placing, I can just end up in like a complete trance with it. She says she's always halfway, and she goes to the Fan Sales Friday playlist that I put together for everybody. She says so she would have something to watch. She said the only time she almost gets to do it with me was when I did the bigger section. She said her painting is all confetti. Well, there you go. It's not a matter of the size of the section then, is it? Yours is a lot more complicated than mine. She says, but she's happy that she's all caught up. It only took her today 5. And she said, thank you so much for making her days happier. Well, thank you so much for being here. I do love that everybody, you know, can take their time out of their day, not only to get their me time. I think the me time is the most important one. But when, you know, people are able to get their me time while listening to me waffle, then that's always nice. I like it. Mysterious Days says she has been sucked into a reading hole the last few days. She says, but she is giving herself today to diamond paint, as she's let herself have today, and then she's going to prepare tomorrow for her science test, which, as I've let the cat out of the bag, she passed. She says originally she scheduled it for the 14th, but then the opportunity to go out of state on the day of her test was scheduled, popped up. She says ultimately she decided against going due to risk factors and other responsibilities in state. Even considering, she says, for herself it's huge, because it's leaving alone, flying on the plane for the first time alone. She's only flown with her mum twice, and one of those she was a baby, so that sort of doesn't count, missus. She says, and it's staying somewhere new. She said it is an adventure that even a year ago she wouldn't have seriously considered. So that's her big win, she says, considering it. Well, you take all those wins, because if it is something that just would have been a straight no, and completely, you know, sent you into a panic or into a it's never going to happen, actually considering doing it is a huge plus. She says the trip was to go to Connecticut. She said she had to think about how to spell that. She says to see her niece graduate a culinary based high school. She said, but she is coming in a month and a half, so they can celebrate then. She said, so a test tomorrow. She says she's craving a hamburger from a place called Jim and Nick's, a barbecue joint it is that sells amazing hamburgers. And if she passes, she will allow herself to purchase a simple children's style $10 colouring book that she can use her Sharpie markers in for when she needs to shut her mind off and doesn't want to diamond paint or read. It's always good to have those little goals. I hope you are enjoying that colouring book. She also says, who is Mr. Blobby. She said the image that she is thinking of, oh look, there's two I missed, is a giant green Slimer ghost from Ghostbusters. Okay, so colour's wrong, not shape's wrong. Its shape is slightly wrong, but not hugely. So take the ghost from Ghostbusters and give him legs, because I don't think he has legs, if I remember rightly. So yeah, give him legs so he stands up and walks. Colour him in pink with yellow polka dots. And that is Mr. Blobby. Was it pink with yellow? Hang on, I'm going to have to Google it now. Yes, it was pink with yellow. He has a big bow tie, big goggly eyes, but he basically looks like a skittle with arms and legs. That's probably the best way to describe Mr. Blobby. But if you Google Mr. Blobby, he should come up. And he doesn't actually say words. He basically says blah, 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 something like that. There'll be some clips on YouTube as well. He did actually release a song once. Mr. Blobby song. Maybe he does actually speak a little bit. It's been years and years. But he definitely speaks weird. And he doesn't always say anything coherently. But he's cute. So he gets forgiven. Carol, she says she totally loves our zesty trays. Thank you, Carol. She says she bought them from us a few months back. Hang on. Stick. There we go. She really wanted to get the peach coloured, light blue and black tray from us. She also says that she would love to get an advent calendar. We are going to have loads of advent calendars, so I will be letting you know once we are sort of ready to release those on pre-order. She says her biggest setback, she said, is no address to send it to. She says since she is a long haul trucker, she lives off of her semi for the past 5 years. She says the trays that she bought from me, she said her trucking company allowed them to send stuff there, but she doesn't think her new company would allow that. She says keep up the awesome work and channel. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for your support. All I can suggest, because of course I'm not in that country. Oh look, we had not done this colour at all yet. I did think we were still potentially missing a colour or so. So yeah, we have a new colour. Yeah, so the only thing I could potentially suggest is if you are a member of a Facebook group, if not join, and see if there is anybody there in the States and places that you drive or live or work. I understand you'll probably be on the road sometimes, but I'm guessing if you got stuff delivered to the company address in the past, you will potentially have somewhere that you go back to, and maybe one of the members there will be able to be somebody who can take that delivery in for you. But yeah, just see if you can find a friend in the diamond painting group that you can meet up once in a while and maybe able to help sort that. Or I don't know if there is somewhere in the States where you can potentially get like a PO box. We can send to a PO box. So maybe if you can get a PO box and we can send there. But yeah, maybe something like that could work. Mysterious Day, she says she's must be thinking of Providences, she says, from a Canadian friend that she once had. Oh, because we don't have Providences here. But yeah, it probably is. There is enough confusing things that are different in each country. and sort of haven't got the same name for things, just to, you know, confuse us all. She says, having so many online friends over the years from so many countries, she says, can be confusing. Yes, I am not surprised at all. It's like we've all had to learn elements of another language since being online, even if it's just names of things that are called different things in different countries. I class that as kind of learning a different language-ish. Not completely a different language, but you know, I've learnt the American term for many things, which, you know, it's just something you don't learn in school the same way. Mysterious Day, she also says, what tray is the pink one that I am using with the turquoise cross symbol? She says it's so pretty, it's the perfect pink. It is that one of our older ones? Yeah, so it's slightly different. It's one of our older pink trays. There's only a slight difference between the two. This is our, oh no, actually that's an old one. That might be the new stock colour. Yeah, it's the stock colour pink. So this one is slightly darker, but this one is the one that's actually got 4 kids on the bottom. So this is the older pink. So yeah, it's the stock pink. Our original supplier for the pink stopped selling filament altogether, and it was their own brand filament as well. So it took us a while to get on the hunt for another company that was the same / similar. And yeah, we've managed to find another company that does pale pink. So as far as I'm aware, that is our stock colour. Though I'd actually I've got so many pink trays. And there is not a lot of difference between any of the pink ones that I've got. But to know any subtle difference, I would actually have to go and get one from the shop and compare it against that to know for sure. Cheryl, she said several of her relatives are or have been quilters. She says her stepmother was before her health deteriorated, and a few of her aunts are all quilters. She says she tried it, she says, but it didn't really stick. It was just as well, she says, because she can't even cut a straight line with a ruler. Bless you. She said her grandmother quilted for decades before she passed away. And she hoarded fabrics to the extent that she would buy a certain fabric and then either forget where she had put it or forget she bought it at all, and buy the same fabric again, and then randomly find the one that she bought the first time. I can imagine that happening for sure. Especially when you're in a fabric shop and can't see your own fabric as well at the same time. But yeah, we've never had any sort of quilters in our family, which is probably why my need for a quilt has not been met already by somebody else. So I did as a child, or as a teenager, should I say. I did know somebody who knew how to quilt. It was actually the local potter's wife in our local area. And she did start to teach me to quilt, but it was the hand piecing with hexagons where you had to cut out all the paper. And then put the fabric round it and sew, and yeah, we didn't get like sort of a lot of time to go through it all, and that is a very, very long process for quilting. I have noticed on a few people I sort of follow or things I've seen on it, where people have shown potentially their completed ones and things like that. It's been an ongoing project for them, like over a few years, and they've quilted other things in between. And I was a teenager, so it just, as much as I wanted to do it, I didn't have the attention span for it as a teenager. Whereas I think if I decided I wanted to do sort of a hexagon quilt now, I think I would do that as more of a in-between doing other things kind of project. A bit like my massive heaven and earth design. Like, it's not my main focus, but it is my part focus. And it takes as long as it takes, so that it's the no pressure project. I think I'd have to do it that way. Right, that is the section done for today. How pretty does that plant look? That looks gorgeous. Okay, where are we off to tomorrow? Let's have a look. It gives me a chance to untuck this from here. Oh, we are on a big one tomorrow. So we are down, try not to lose that number 28. We are down to this bottom corner. So I reckon I am going to have quite a bit of multi-placing I'll be able to do on this one, but we'll get another one of these corners done, so I will have to shuffle my trays over. But anyway, that's a job for tomorrow. So thank you all so much for being here and watching, and I'll speak to you all again tomorrow.